All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2026 meeting of the Unitholders of Primaris REIT. My name is Tim Peer, and I'm the Chair of the Board of Trustees of Primaris REIT, which I will refer to as Primaris or the REIT. Alex Avery, the Chief Executive Officer, is also present at the meeting. As you will see and hear, this past year has been an exciting year for Primaris, and the team is very excited about the coming years. Before I call this meeting to order, I would like to state that comments made during the meeting of Unitholders, the management presentation, and the questions period may contain forward-looking information within the meaning of the applicable securities legislation, which reflects the REIT's current expectations regarding future events. Forward-looking information is based on a number of assumptions and is subject to a number of risks and uncertainties, many of which are beyond the REIT's control, that could cause actual results and events to differ materially from those that disclosed in or implied by such forward-looking information. These forward-looking statements are made as of today's date, and except as expressly required by applicable law, the REIT assumes no obligation to publicly update or revise any forward-looking statement, whether as a result of new information, future events, or otherwise. Whether a result of new information, future events, or otherwise. Sorry about that. Please refer to the REIT's filings on SEDAR+, including the REIT's annual information form for the year ended December 31st, 2025, which identifies certain factors that could cause actual results to differ materially from those projected in any forward-looking statements made during this meeting. With that being said, it is my pleasure to now call the meeting to order. With the consent of the meeting, Morty Boborowski, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, and Corporate Secretary, will act as the Secretary of the meeting, and Patty Singianis of Odyssey Trust Company will act as scrutineer. The Secretary has deposited with me a statutory declaration establishing the giving of written notice of the meeting, and in addition, the sending of notice of the time and place of the meeting to each unitholder entitled to vote and each trustee and to the REIT's auditors. The notice calling this meeting required that unitholders intending to vote by proxy must have properly deposited their proxies prior to April 28, 2026 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The proxies so deposited are now in the custody of the scrutineer. The scrutineer has provided me with a preliminary report on the attendance at this meeting, and I confirm that the requisite quorum of unitholders is either present in person or represented by proxy. The scrutineer's report will be kept with the records of this meeting. Notice of the meeting have been given as required, and a quorum being present, I declare that the meeting has been regularly called and is properly constituted for the transaction of business. This meeting is being held in a hybrid format, both in person and virtually, a live webcast. We welcome everyone in attendance today. Our decision to hold the meeting in a hybrid format this year was made in consideration of our desire to provide access to our investors and other stakeholders across Canada and beyond Canada's borders. We have done our best to provide a meeting that allows us to communicate with unitholders, receive your questions and comments, and permit voting. I would like to thank those unitholders who have chosen to attend the meeting today, and to all those who have submitted their proxies in advance on a timely basis. The REIT has used a notice and access provision to make the management information circular available to unitholders on the internet instead of mailing paper copies. A copy of the management information circular is available on the REIT's public profile at sedarplus.com and its website at primarisreit.com. The agenda for motions to be submitted for the unitholders' action with respect to the matters that will be dealt with at this meeting are contained in the notice of meeting that unitholders received prior to this meeting and are fully described in the management information circular. I will begin with a few comments regarding procedural matters for today's meeting format. Registered unitholders and duly appointed proxy holders who voted in advance of this meeting do not need to take any further steps to cast their votes. Your advance vote has already been recorded. If you do vote at the meeting today, that will automatically revoke any prior vote or proxy granted. That said, if you're a registered unitholder or proxy holder attending in person, you have you have not already voted, or if you are a registered unit holder who would like to change your vote, you have not received a ballot, please raise your hand when requested to vote, and the scrutineer will provide you with a ballot. The ballot should be completed by marking an X in the appropriate spaces and must be clearly signed. If you are a registered unit holder, please print your name on the ballot. When you have completed and signed the ballot, please so indicate to the scrutineer who will come and collect it. If you are a registered unit holder or a proxy holder participating online and you have not already voted by proxy, or you would like to change your vote, you can vote when prompted. For those participating virtually, the online polls have been open for all items of business and may be voted at the same time. This will allow you to vote on each item independently, immediately, or if you prefer, you may wait until the conclusion of the discussion on all items prior to casting your vote. Once all the business matters have been addressed, I will conclude the balloting. At that time, the voting page will disappear from your screen and your ballots will automatically be submitted. Then, the scrutineer will compile a report regarding the results of the voting on all items of business and will inform you of the outcome. To make the best use of our time today, our secretary, Morty Boborowski, will move various motions. Questions in respect of the business of the meeting may be submitted by the unit holders using the designated My Messages field on the web portal or by raising your hand for the participants attending in person. When submitting your question online, please identify whether it relates to a motion to be considered as part of the formal process of the meeting or whether it is general in nature. Given the hybrid format of the meeting, in order for us to expediently undertake the discussion on any matter proposed for vote, while we will pause at certain points during the meeting to provide an opportunity to ask questions, we would encourage unit holders participating online who have specific questions on a formal item of business to submit such questions now. We will address questions directly related to a particular motion at an appropriate time of the meeting. We will do our best to answer all general questions after the formal business items have been completed. But if, for any reason, we are unable to do so, we will endeavor to follow up with you after the meeting. If during the course of the meeting we encounter any technical difficulties with the virtual meeting, please remain logged on and we will resume as soon as the issue is resolved. All participants are responsible for maintaining their own internet connection. The first item of business is the presentation of the consolidated financial statements and the auditor's report thereon for the year ended December 31st, 2025. Copies of the financial statements are available on the REIT's website and on SEDAR+. On behalf of the trustees, I now place before the meeting the consolidated financial statements and report of the auditors thereon for the year ended December 31st, 2025. The next item of business is the election of the trustees. The trustees have set the size of the board at 6. Each trustee is to be elected at the meeting to hold office until the close of the next annual meeting of unit holders or until their successors are duly elected or appointed. Details about the individuals being nominated as trustees are found in the Management Information Circular for the meeting. In the proxy forms and voting instruction forms, unit holders were asked to vote individually for each of the nominees. I will now ask Morty Boborowski to move a motion for the nomination of the nominees named in the Management Information Circular.
Mr. Chair, I move that each of Alex Avery, Aftar Baines, Ann Fitzgerald, Louis Forbes, Tim Pierre, and Deborah Weinswick be elected to serve as trustees of the REIT for a term of 1 year beginning today and ending at the close of the next annual meeting of unit holders or until their successors are duly elected or appointed.
Thank you. The REIT's declaration of trust requires that the nomination of trustees by unit holders be received by the trustees at least 30 days in advance of the meeting in order to be valid. As no nominations were properly received from the unit holders prior to the deadline, the nominations are now closed. The motion is now open for discussion. Are there any questions in the room? Thank you. Let us now pause to account for any delay in the broadcasting of this online meeting to allow for the questions by unit holders participating virtually. Morty, are there any questions online?
Mr. Chair, I confirm that we've not received any questions from unit holders participating online, specifically on this item.
Thank you, Morty. Whether you are participating online or in person, please follow the voting instructions I provided at the start of the meeting. The next item of business is the appointment of the auditors and the authorization of the trustees to set the remuneration. I will ask Morty to move a formal motion in this regard.
Mr. Chair, I move that KPMG LLP be appointed auditors of the REIT to hold office until the close of the next annual meeting of unit holders or until successors appointed, and that the Board of Trustees are authorized to fix the auditor's remuneration.
The motion is now open for discussion. As before, I will pause to ask if there are any questions in the room. Thank you. Now let us pause to account for any delay in the broadcasting of the online meeting to allow for any questions by unit holders participating virtually. Morty, are there any questions online?
Mr. Chair, I confirm that we've not received any questions from unit holders participating online, specifically on this item.
Thank you, Morty. Whether you are participating online or in person, please follow the voting instructions I provided at the start of the meeting. The next item of business is the vote on the non-binding say-on-pay resolution on the approach to executive compensation. I will now ask Morty to move a formal motion in this regard.
Mr. Chair, I move that the non-binding say-on-pay resolution on the approach to executive compensation as outlined in the Management Information Circular for this meeting be approved.
This motion is now open for discussion. Are there any questions in the room? Thank you. Let us now pause again to allow for any question by unit holders participating virtually. Morty, are there any questions online?
Mr. Chair, I confirm that we have not received any questions from unit holders participating online, specifically on this item.
Thank you, Morty. Whether you are participating online or in person, please follow the voting instructions I provided at the start of the meeting. We will now proceed with the process of completing the online voting on all items of business of the meeting. Morty, given the delay in the broadcasting of the online meeting, have any further questions come in from the unit holders participating online, specifically on any of the motions?
Mr. Chair, I confirm that we've not received any questions from unit holders participating online, specifically on the motions.
Thank you, Morty. For those of you participating through the virtual meeting platform who have not voted on all the items of business, please do so now. We will now pause to allow time to vote, after which the polls of the meeting will close. I declare the polls for the meeting closed. We will pause in silence for a moment to give the scrutineer the opportunity to tally the votes.
Mr. Chair, I'm reporting to you on behalf of the scrutineer that sufficient votes have been received for all items of business to pass, and that all nominees for election as trustees received the majority of votes in favor of their election.
Having been informed that all of the items of business have been duly passed, I declare that Alex Avery, Aftar Baines, Ann Fitzgerald, Louis Forbes, Tim Peer, Deborah Weinsing are all duly elected as trustees of the REIT to hold office until the close of the next annual meeting of unit holders or until their successors are duly elected or appointed. KPMG LLP are appointed auditors of the REIT to hold office until the close of the next annual meeting of unit holders or until a successor is appointed, and the Board of Trustees are authorized to fix the auditor's remuneration. And the motion to approve the non-binding say-on-pay resolution on the approach to executive compensation is carried. As there is no other business that may properly come before the meeting is now terminated. It is my pleasure to serve as the chair of the Board of Trustees. My email address is chair@primaris.com. I would be pleased to hear from any of the any of our stakeholders who would like to engage with the board, I will now ask Alex Avery to deliver his remarks. Thank you, Tim. Before we get started, I'd just like to thank everyone who's attending in person and those attending virtually. In particular, my mom and dad are here at our AGM, and I'm very happy to confirm that they're also unit holders. In 2022, we launched Primaris as a new REIT built from a blank slate with best-in-class characteristics. We outlined a clear and focused strategy, identified a very large consolidation opportunity, and showed a lot of ambition. Over the past 4 years, we have been remarkably fortunate to capitalize on that opportunity, significantly grow our portfolio, drive performance from our assets, and deliver very attractive results for our unit holders. Our portfolio strategy is driven by relevance to our customers, and our customers are our tenants. We frame our portfolio strategy as becoming the first call. We strive to own and operate a portfolio of market-leading enclosed shopping centers across Canada that makes Primaris a first call for the retailers that are looking to enter, expand, and operate thriving retail businesses in Canada. With leases that provide visibility into the sales productivity of our tenants, the mall business allows us to proactively manage retailer merchandise mix as consumer preferences evolve and as strong retailers eclipse others that are losing relevance. Continued long-term population growth and economic growth is expected to drive continued growth in demand, putting upward pressure on the rents at our properties. This trend is clearly evident in our operating and financial results over the past 4 years. Our aggregate portfolio tenant sales volume has more than doubled from $1.7 billion in 2022 to $3.6 billion today. The productivity of our tenant base, measured by tenant sales per square foot across the portfolio, reflects consumer demand for retailer brands and their products. High sales productivity reflects the combination of a strong market of consumers as well as the presence of market-leading retailers. Primaris's average tenant productivity has risen from the low $500 per square foot range at the beginning of 2022 to over $800 per square foot today. This significant improvement in portfolio metrics is a result of the $1.6 billion of acquisitions we completed in 2025 and $3.3 billion of acquisitions since the spin-out, along with $400 million of dispositions last year and nearly $500 million since the spin-out. Almost 65% of our current portfolio has been acquired since 2021, and just in 2025, 30% of our portfolio was acquired. The addition of high aggregate sales and high sales productivity properties to our portfolio, combined with the expanded reach of our portfolio covering every major market in the country, has elevated Primaris's relevance as a landlord for retailers. Critical to the remarkable progress Primaris has made in building our business over the past 4 years is our differentiated financial model of low leverage and a low payout ratio. Maintaining low leverage is a core element of the REIT strategy. Protecting and preserving our balance sheet while managing Primaris through the remarkable growth over the past 2 years has required strong capital discipline. Our differentiated financial model provides the structural advantages of internally generated growth capital and superior access to external capital. It has allowed us to acquire top-tier malls, buy back stock, and grow our FFO and distributions during a period of time when growth capital availability has been very limited for Canadian REITs. Our sector-leading balance sheet provides robust and efficient access to credit, as reflected in Primaris's BBB high investment-grade credit rating. Employing a largely unsecured financing strategy allows Primaris to pursue acquisitions with confidence. Malls are fabulous real estate. Giant parcels of land spanning 40, 50, 60, even more than 100 acres of land in very central urban locations, surrounded by rooftops, and typically connected to mass rapid transit. Malls offer perhaps the greatest flexibility and adaptability of any property type. These properties are nearly impossible to develop in built-up urban locations. The 1- and 2-story format, accompanied by vast surface parking lots, delivers profile and significant flexibility to accommodate new retail concepts and other uses on excess lands, driving a very compelling capital appreciation profile. These characteristics create a significant barrier to new supply threats in the mall sector. The financial and operating results we reported last night confirm the strong position our REIT is in. We reported growth in same property NOI and FFO per unit compared to a year earlier, excluding a one-time tax recovery last year, despite last year's bankruptcy of Canada's last department store anchor, which reduced the REIT's occupancy by 7 percentage points. So the same property NOI growth and the FFO growth were in the face of a 700 basis point decline in occupancy. A shout out to our leasing team, which has been operating at about 150% of capacity to keep up with the record high levels of leasing activity over the past number of quarters, and in this past quarter being a record-breaking quarter on many of our leasing metrics. Lee, Lauren, Craig, Pam, Jason, Nico, Olivia, Catherine, Eric, Gino, Nisha, Eva, and Blake, among others, the work you are doing is driving our business today. In 2025, Primaris' flexibility was constrained by the restrictions embedded in certain leases. The departure of Hudson's Bay Company as a tenant removed no builds and parking restrictions across 71 acres of land in our portfolio, enhancing our flexibility to surface value from our excess lands. One area of focus for 2026 is to advance our strategy for surfacing value from excess lands. The REIT's portfolio currently includes approximately 1,400 acres of land across the country. We estimate that as much as 400 acres of those are excess lands, which are not required for the successful operation of the malls. We believe there is a very significant opportunity for retail intensification and for the severance and sale of excess lands for development into other property types over the next several years. We recently added another remarkable executive to our management team with Julian Schoenfeld, joining us on April 1st after spending 4 years at Capri, sitting in the front row here. Julian brings immense experience and knowledge, particularly relevant to the exercise of surfacing value from our excess lands, among many other skills, including a very strong understanding of capital allocation, which is a passion point for me. Looking to the future, over the next 5 and 10 years, we expect market rents to continue to rise as mall space per capita continues to decline due to population growth, very limited new mall developments, and the demolition of lower productivity malls. I just lost her. We expect rising NOI to boost the value and income from our portfolio. We expect investor sentiment towards malls to continue to recover from the deep cyclical trough earlier this decade, and we expect to maintain strong discipline in capital allocation and capital structure, reinvesting excess capital into our business where it has the greatest benefit to unitholders. In conclusion, Primaris will continue to pursue strategic property acquisitions and dispositions that advance our ambition of becoming the first call. We will leverage the strength of our scarce and valuable mall management platform to drive performance from our existing properties as well as create value through transactions. Primaris will continue to press the competitive advantages it holds due to its mall management platform, differentiated financial model, portfolio scale, and clear and focused strategy to deliver best-in-class operating and financial results, including significant growth in FFO per unit and NAV per unit. The remarkable progress that we have achieved the remarkable progress Primaris has made in 2025 and since 2021 is only possible because of the dedication and hard work of all 700 of the REIT's employees. On behalf of the REIT's board and senior management team, a sincere thank you to all of our team members and a note of appreciation to our unitholders and our bondholders for their continued support for Primaris as we continue to pursue the substantial opportunities ahead. We'd now be pleased to open the floor for any questions or comments from any of our unitholders. Paul.
I'm Paul Vernon from Burlington. I'm at Burlington Center, which is a RioCan property. There is a bay out the back. And there's a whole bunch of rumors floating around town about what it's going to be turned into. Somebody said it's going to be pickleball courts. Somebody else said it'll be torn down and put a condo up. And then somebody else says, well, it'll just be made small stores. I think that'd be a pretty big construction job to turn a bay into small stores, wouldn't it? A big construction job. And now, okay. Now, a couple of years ago, as this bay thing was being discussed, you were identified as, I could be wrong on this, with 11 bay stores. Is that right?
That's correct.
So, the bay in Burlington is sort of a discount clearance thing. It's not really a store. They're just getting rid of stuff. So how have you handled these 11 bay properties? Have you just torn that real estate down and going to put something else up later on? Or just how have you reconfigured those 11 properties coming to today's date?
Thank you, Paul. For anyone online, I wasn't sure if we could get you a microphone, but for anyone online, the question was about the Hudson's Bay store locations and what we're planning to do with them. And I would just start by saying that the departure of Hudson's Bay is the best thing that has happened to Primaris in many, many years. And it's also a eventuality that we were planning around many years ago. When we were spun out as a standalone company, we had a lot of meetings in 2022 and 2023 and 2024 evaluating what these locations could be turned into, what our plans would be in the eventuality that they went bankrupt and departed, as many other department stores had done before them. And so I think the best way to answer in a broad sense is that each of our 11 locations are unique, and the solution that we're pursuing for each of them is specific to the mall in terms of how do we maximize the value, but also the appeal of the shopping center. And so in some circumstances, we have torn down anchor boxes. Right now, we're in the process of tearing down the Sears box at Oshawa. Last year or the year before, we tore down the Sears box in Windsor at our Devonshire Mall. But that's really a very small minority of what we're doing. Most of the locations, I would say, are either a single tenant replacement. So think about our largest tenants. Our top three would be Canadian Tire, Walmart, and Loblaws. Some of their retailer formats can take an entire 150,000 square foot store. And so of our 11, we might do that on 2 or 3 or 4 of them. And then there's another probably 5 or 6 that we have 2 or 3 different retailers. Again, most of our sort of usual suspects of larger format, but not quite so large tenants. So think about it like Mark's Work Warehouse or Sport Check or Decathlon or Winners or Marshalls, those types of tenants. So take the space and cut it into 2 or 3 spots and then lease it out to those retailers. And then in a couple of select circumstances where our mall is just so packed and there are a lot of retailers that are really desperate to get in, we're taking the box and we're extending the corridor through the box and then creating the small CRU units, the commercial retail units, which are the 2, 3, 4, 5,000 square foot stores. And so when you look at all of that across the 11 locations, that process started, even before HBC went bankrupt in terms of our planning. We're anticipating providing a pretty comprehensive update on progress over the next 60 days before June 30th is our ambition to get that disclosure out. And across those 11 locations, our budget is $175 million to $225 million, and we're expecting a return on that capital in the 8 to 10% range.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't have any bay stores that are still like the Burlington one, clearing out hugely discounted. It's not really a store.
Yeah,
like that.
So what you've seen at the Bay Store in Burlington Mall, which, as you noted, is a RioCan mall, so I'm not entirely familiar with it. What I would say is that what we do have in some of our locations currently is a temporary tenant, so a liquidation wholesaler type of situation, and we've got that in probably 4 or 5 of the locations, 3 of the locations that, we're basically just keeping the box animated with a retailer until such time as...
That's only a temporary kind of...
It's a temporary solution, correct.
Well, there's still, strikes me, as I look at that Burlington Bay, to reconfigure it to whatever is going to be quite a bit of construction cost. Whatever it's turned into, and there's rumors, as I mentioned, about what it's could be.
Yeah, no, it certainly is a big opportunity, but also a big cost. And I think if you look at what we've done with our portfolio over the last 5 years, 65% of our portfolio is new in the last 4.5 years. We have been targeting what we believe are the dominant shopping centers in the market. And so when you have a dominant shopping center in the market, that's the place where the most retail sales take place. And that means that that's where the retailers want to be the most, and also where the consumers shop the most. And one of the challenges with some of the non-dominant shopping centers is that there's not as much tenant demand. And so in some cases, you might find that those sort of supposedly temporary tenants persist for a long period of time. I would be surprised if any of our 3 persist more than 2 years. It's really just until such time as we're ready to commence construction, execute leases, and put a permanent solution in place.
Okay, I think it strikes me as a pretty big undertaking. 11 bays converted to whatever.
It is a big undertaking, and our construction and development group, like our leasing group, is operating at about 150% capacity. The headcount has expanded pretty significantly over the last year. I mean, it was growing before that, but the HBC really made it clear, because we have many other things that we're working on in our construction and development group.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Any online questions, Morty?
No other questions at this time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. On behalf of the board and the leadership team, we appreciate you taking the time this morning to hear from us. As the meeting has ended, I will now turn the meeting back to the operator.